Hello, this is Malorian. Now this will be a third game of the Onslaught tournament, and it's now going to be my Orcs and Goblins, done Wood Elf style, up against real Wood Elves. And here are my reinforcements. I was all set to go and rush back over the lunch hour to go get my missing 500 points. And luckily, Borg and I, my awesome brother, decided to go and actually pick them up for me. Unfortunately, he didn't get a base, so I'm using a couple of CDs underneath. But hey, this is going to make such a huge difference actually having this in my army. Of course, it doesn't really go with the theme, but I mean, as soon as I heard I was missing 500 points, hey, that's my Black Orcs with Flaming Banner. So they jumped into the list right away. Yeah, and I mean the big thing here is some of the guys are like, "Wow, I can't believe Malorian is getting massacre win by being down 500 points." Right? They're always talking after every single game about it, and now they're saying like, "Hey, don't use the Black Orcs," right? Like you're just gonna jinx yourself. But I mean, how can you not add these guys in, right? Alright, so this game is going to be interesting for a couple of reasons. One, you have my greenskins pretending they're wood elves up against somebody that actually is wood elves. Second of all, it's up against... Okay, I'm in Edmonton, and the rival city of Edmonton is Calgary. Now, this is a guy that runs tournaments in Calgary, so he's kind of like a rival of mine. Plus, we also have, I don't know how to really describe it, but we've only played a couple of times in the past, and whenever we do, there's always some little like rule thing that comes up that he thinks it goes one way, I think it goes the other way. It's not like, it gets nasty or anything, but it's a thing where we're both certain of how it should be, and we don't really come to agreement and need either to dice it off or something like that. But it always stays friendly, but always one of those things where the rule book does get referenced and it always comes up. Another thing here too is also he doesn't normally play Wood Elves. He's actually been doing a thing recently where he never plays his own army. Whenever he goes to a tournament, he borrows one from somebody else. So that sounds kind of fun. But either way, we're playing meeting engagement here. And what I actually had starting off the board was one of each war machine plus my little wolf big boss guy. He had nothing starting in reserve, but it kind of sucks that all these war machines won't be shooting. But it's just one turn. For him, from left to right, what he has is he has a tree man ancient, and I don't know the gear. He has 4 treekin, a whole bunch of glade guard, some dryads in the back, a massive unit of glade guard, and in there he has his level 2 and also his BSB. Behind the building, you can't see it, but there's also an eagle, there is a noble, and there's also another level 1 or level 2, some more dryads, and then on the far right, some glade riders. And you can see that little disc in the center is his free woods. So really going into this game, I deployed first, so I really didn't know where he was going to go, so I'd be kind of defensive, and I had to kind of also deploy my Black Orcs back because I was guaranteed he was going to slam one flank with the trees, and so I had to be ready to counter whichever way he went. So he went left, and so really the point here is I'm hoping my Black Orcs can get those points. I'll be able to shoot down the easy points of like his Eagle and the Wild Riders or Glade Riders and stuff like that, and then just win that way. Do it like kind of like playing it Wood Elf again. As well, just to be clear, is right now those Night Goblins that are behind the building are actually in the building. And this is kind of a picture back here with his, eagle hiding behind the building. Right now the characters are with the dryads, but they will be hiding behind the building. I'm sure they have something sneaky. In fact, actually, yes, I know that the one little low-level wizard here has an item so that whenever it goes into woods, everything else has to take a dangerous terrain. I've actually been decimated by this. That actually owns his army in the past, but, of course, it seems in this tournament there's not many woods, so he's been having a hard time with it so far. And in the back here, I mean, this is where he has his level 4 and has his BSB and all these Glade Guard. It'd be nice to get back here and get these points. And you can also see the little, objective marker here as well. But of course, I know that slogging all the way across is not going to end well. And getting this close to this many strength 4 shots from Glade Guard would just be murder. So I'm probably not going to be able to get this. But still, the secondary objective I'm going for is killing all wizards because it might be possible. We'll see. Out of all the other options, this was the most likely. So despite me going and setting up first, he actually steals the first turn. He has his the Tree Man and Tree Man Agent going around the house on the left side. His other combat units moving up. And that's pretty much it. I mean, in his shooting phase, he tries to do some damage, and what he really does is kills enough Night Goblins in that unit that was in the front between the Black Orcs and the Orc Archers, and they panic and go to the back. But hey, I wasn't actually feeling too bad about that, because now they get out of the way for the Black Orcs to get over to the trees, and I kind of save those points as they fall back and they're going to rally. And back over here, we're already having an issue where, first of all, he kind of already went up and tried baiting out my fanatics, found out that all my fanatics were a lie. But over here, we went, he rolled, he stole first turn, and then he did his Vanguard. And it's one of the things I said, well, you wouldn't have moved up because then I would have charged you. He said he would have, and because of that, I mean, he would have put himself in full shooting from both the Night Goblins and the Savage Orcs, and now with his fast cab move, he was able to get all the way behind my line. So it's one of these things where, you know what, if anything else, I have to really stop and make sure I stop this myself, because this has happened several times where I just roll for first turn, we get going, and it's like, oh, what about Vanguards? And so I have to really make sure I say, before we roll for turn or stealing first turn, hey, are you going to do Vanguards? Because otherwise stuff like this happens, and I mean, it's a big deal getting these guys behind my line. So otherwise, on my first turn, I'm able to kill the eagle. My war machines come on that were in reserves. You can see I have the one wolf character in the far left side there, hoping to get a flank charge on those archers if they don't turn to put some fire on him. I then reform my archers for ranks, and I move over my characters to make sure they'll stay steadfast. So really, whatever hits my orcs, my black orcs will then hit in the flank and crush. Otherwise, yeah, I'm just kind of moving up to try and put up some pressure on the right side with the archers, shooting up things, getting over to the house. And, yeah, my shooting into his characters didn't go so well. I mean, with all my rock lobas and stuff, you think I'd do okay, but just miss, miss, miss. I think there might have been a misfire in there too, but the main thing here is no damage, and my Night Goblins rallied. His turn too, and we already got into another rules type thing here, because what I did is I moved up my 35-point Chukka to be blocking both the Tree Man and the Tree Man Ancient, so that he couldn't actually charge past to get to the orcs over here, because I really didn't want to deal with everything at the same time. So I did that, and then we got kind of a discussion of, well, what actually is the base, what actually blocks. He thought that there actually isn't a base to the war machines, so you could actually charge right through them. I said, well, no, that's not the case. I mean, the really thing that you ignore is the crew, not the machine, blah, blah, blah. At the end, what he did is he put the Ancient into it, and we said that his Tree Man could charge around. He failed to charge anyway, so in the end, it didn't really matter. But again, just one of these things where I really wish in the next edition they start saying there's a set base size for these war machines, because this has been an issue for a long time. So end of his turn, it looks like this. His tree can come in. They really smash me good, but, I'm going to hold and I'm going to be fine. He also, this was kind of a thing too, where it was really close, where he charged his Dryads into my Night Goblins up there, and I thought I'd be alright because of the ranks and all these things. He ended up beating me and breaking me, and then it was really close on whether it was going to be on the flank or the front of the Savages. In the end, I mean, we didn't really have a good way of measuring it. Again, I mean, I should have the tool that shows the arcs. It was a thing where we saw it different ways. We ended up putting in the flank, but I think my Savages will be fine anyway. Another thing that's actually going to be funny right now is that he's doing a lot of shots into things like my Black Orcs, and he's actually doing worse because of how he put this free woods in the middle of the table, and he's giving me cover from it. So that's always nice. Now, a big deal that's here on the right is that on my first turn there, as I said, he had his wild riders or glade riders, whatever, that go behind me. Now, I fail animosity with my orcs, and I roll a 6. Now, this is where I decide to do another reversal thing, because they're supposed to go towards the closest visible enemy. And so I decided to use some of my own thing here. Like, you know what? Archers are done sideways, so it doesn't say in your front arc. That means I can actually see them. So it says you pivot on the spot and go towards the closest visible. So I actually turned around. Now, what I actually did then in my first turn is I charged them, because I thought, hey, a big block of Night Goblins into a flank of Glade Riders, piece of cake. Well, it turns out they're wild riders. So this is something that was wrong in the communication between us in the start, because they're not all the wild rider models. They seem to be a real mix, like with the right heads for the wild riders for the horses, but then some glade rider bodies. I don't know. It wasn't really all right. So that's really going to cause some problems back there. Right now I'm holding, but yeah, this is definitely something where it's going to cause an issue. My turn too, fail some animosity here with my bunker, so no magic for me. And what ends up happening is that my shooting destroys the Tree Man Ancient, so that's awesome. Otherwise, I can't do anything to the other Tree Man. I destroyed the Dryads, or beat them, ran them down with my Savage Archers, so that's also awesome. What I'm also starting to do is, now that I don't really need my Doom Divers so much, is that they're shooting at the characters behind the building. And at this point, I've killed the Noble, but not the level 1 that's back there. And I mean, it's one of the things where I always scatter, but because the Doom Divers can correct for themselves, it's actually fairly accurate. So that should end up to be some easy points for me at the end. What happened in the main combat here, though, is the Black Orcs charged in to the flank. They totally whiffed, did nothing. So I lost, I was steadfast, at least with the Black Orcs. They held, the archers failed, ran off the board, and then now he turned to face me. So that's fantastic. So I'll just get more flaming attacks. But yeah, I mean, he killed my archers, and that's a big bunch of points for him. His turn 3, and this is now going to be part of a Nether rules thing here as well. So he's starting to put up the pressure with his archers. They're starting to move up. Now, something that was really stupid is that when I brought on my wolf character on the left on turn 1, he then on his turn 2 went over to shoot them. I took a wound, but I mean, I could have ran away, whatever, but I forgot about the model. So this turn, he's going to kill the guy. I felt pretty stupid here, but otherwise, he's moving up, trying to put some shots into my savages. Now, the Black Orcs. He decides to charge the Tree Man into my Black Orcs. He does some damage to me, but of course, with my flaming attacks coming back, I kill the Tree Man, and I do enough to the Treekin that they break, and I run them down, and I go off the board. Now, here's the real rules question, is that when do I have to declare that I have the Flaming Banner? Because my understanding is always that you declare things when they take effect. So since in my combat with the Treekin, since I didn't actually cause any wounds to be doubled by flaming, it didn't come into effect. I didn't have to declare it. He says that, well, not he, the other side of the argument is that since I'm in combat, I need to declare it, and then if he knew the Flaming Banner was in there, he wouldn't have actually charged in the Tree Man. So I don't know which way it's supposed to be. I can see the argument for either side, but this is the way it went. He was already charged in, and this is now a ton of points for me, and now I'm feeling great. If I can just deal with some of the stuff that's flanking me on the right, I'll be aces. And yeah, the other thing that's going on here too that's annoying is that these Wild Riders have now beat that first unit of Night Goblins. My Night Goblins that are in the building had come out to block them, and now they're coming up threatening the backside. But I mean, just the fact that, if I knew these guys were the Wild Riders from the beginning, I just would have shot the hell out of them. And now I'm just having some issues trying to finish them off. So my turn 3, and really everything revolves around killing these bastards over here. And so they have 2 Doom Divers going after them. They have all my Wolf Riders shooting them, and the Night Goblins as well. I even shot, I think I shot a Rock Lob at them too, just to try and get some damage done. But at the end, I was only able to kill frickin' 1, and then they, of course, pass their panic. So it's just, these guys are killing me. His turn 4 then, and really it's just his guys there had charged the one stone thrower, destroyed it, overran into a Cheka. His dryads are causing me some trouble there in the rear there. He's now just trying to shoot up my Black Orcs and my Savages to try and get some points from there. My turn 4, and this was pretty... okay, let me tell you what my plan was. My plan was to have my Black Orcs and Savages there so that they can take some shots to waste them basically from the Glade Guard, and then the Black Orcs were going to move into the left house, and the Savages were going to move into the right house. But what happened is he set his guys up so they're just barely within range for my Savages. I fail my Frenzy test, have to charge, eat some extra stand and shoot shots, and now I'm not in an angle where I can just move into the building. So my Savage Archers are probably going to die now. Hopefully they can maybe get out of this mess, but they're in a really bad spot over there. My Doom Divers trying to kill that other level 1 over there just isn't working. What happened here is actually he couldn't destroy my Bolt Thrower. He only killed 1, I held, and so really I just kind of set up a line over here to kind of help protect my line with the Night Goblins and all this stuff here. His turn 5, the Dryads try to charge in, but they fail. He destroys my War Machine, and that panics off my Night Goblins with a Leadership 8 re-rolled, and they just do a ton of damage where, well, first of all, I lose those points, but then he also panicked my Stone Lava and my Doom Diver. So it would have been really nice to shoot those things, but there you go. And as you can see, my Savages are dwindling pretty bad. Alright, I seem not to have a picture of my turn 5, but what really happened was that the Savages failed again and charged up, and the Stand and Shoot really hurt them. I moved up the Black Orcs just to try and draw away some shots to try and help them. As you can see on his turn 6, he was able to kill them all, so that's horrible. Also on my turn, I failed Animosity, had to charge with my Wolf Riders, they went in, then I miscast, did a small blast to myself, killed some of my own Wolf Riders, also did a wound to my BSB, and then in combat, he killed my BSB, obviously getting him more points. And then even with that, I wasn't able to kill his couple of guys and kind of held. Same things is kind of going on here. At least I held. His Dryads are trying to charge in, but he keeps on failing his charge, and I keep on whittling him down with little shots. But yeah, that whole BSB and Savage thing is some points I really shouldn't have lost. And then on my turn 6, I was able to kill his last guy here to get the points, killed his Dryas to get the points, but then my Doom Diver failed to kill that level 1 over there again, which not only doesn't get me the points for that, but I also don't get the points for holding the little 100-point objective here, and, well, the one that's on his side, and that's going to be an issue. So after everything was said and done, I was kind of regretting all the points I kind of lost, meaninglessly. It still turned out I was ahead by 130 points. So I was like, oh, thank God I at least still pulled off the win. It was a really bloody battle, but at least it all still worked out. But then we looked at the package, and for this tournament here, you need at least 150 points for the win. I don't know why it's different, but it is. So turned out to be a draw, but I was just, one of these games where I really thought I had it. I mean, we each had our kind of a thing where on the right, between the whole Vanguard and them being Wild Riders instead of Glade Riders, that was a big deal and got them a lot of points. Meanwhile, on the left side, the Flaming Banner thing really helped as well too. I mean, really, I had already killed the one Ancient by that time. He just wouldn't have dedicated the other Tree Man, but all that means is I probably would have just shot him off, right? Because he would have had to run away to not be charged by the Black Orcs next turn after I destroyed the Treekin. And yeah, so that wouldn't change too much, but I mean, really, on my part, just the fact that those Savages failed me, giving up all those points, not being able to kill that one Shaman in the back, and so many. This is one of these games you look back on like, man, if anything would have been normal, it probably should have been a win, but it's a draw. And you know what? Going into this tournament, now I'm still at 2 wins, 1 draw. Of course, I always go into games to win more than I lose, and so at this point, I'm guaranteed to meet that requirement. So I'm still feeling good. If I can rock out this last game, maybe I can even win a trophy or something. The guy actually had brand new trophies for this tournament, so we'll have to kind of see. But thanks for watching. Bye.